Thank you for listening to Curious Cat, the podcast that examines the shadowy space where science and the supernatural collide. I'm your host, Jennifer Hodes. Join me every week as I explore what it means to be a soul in a meat suit. Welcome to Curious Cat. This week, I have a very special guest for Halloween. It's the perfect person to be on the podcast for Halloween. And you know her because she goes way back with the podcast, the first year. But I'm going to let her introduce herself. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. My name is Molly Ann Frank, and I am known as Miss Molly Knows on all social media. And I am an intuitive psychic medium.
Oh, welcome to the show. She is also very modest because she's amazing at what she does. And then every time I jump on socials, you have a new skill that you're diving into. It's incredible. So, okay, so you told us you're an intuitive psychic. One thing, people can find you on TikTok, and we'll do all the socials at the end. But one thing that I've noticed that you were doing and you're still doing is the finder of lost items. So can you dive into some of that and tell us about some of your stories?
Sure. So finder of lost items are also known as Foley, F-O-L-I. And if you want to look it up, there's a hashtag. Came about sort of as an experiment. And this is, as you said in the beginning, I'm always adding more skills. It's because I'm not afraid to try things, because I figure if I try it and it doesn't work, then it just didn't work. But if I try it and it works, there you go. So I was on a live stream, and somebody came on and said, I'm missing a cat, can you help me? And I said, I don't know. I've never tried that. But in a few years back, when I first started developing more into what I'm doing, I did do some remote viewing, and I was very interested in it. So it kind of occurred to me, maybe either through mediumship or remote viewing, maybe I can help them. And sure enough, it turned out I gave her a description of what I saw, and I heard from her the next, I think a couple of days later, and she said, yes, the cat was exactly where you said. So when I came back on the next live stream, she came on and talked about it a little bit through the live, and other people started jumping. Oh, could you help me find this? Could you help me find that? And I said, well, I'll try. And as it turns out, I've had a really high success rate. And so apparently what I'm doing does work.
Wow, that's incredible. I didn't know it started with remote viewing. And it's so interesting because with remote viewers, you do have to be blind to what the target is, like the GPS coordinates or whatever.
Right.
And so it works for that because you can know the item, but then you don't know actually physically where it is.
Right. I call it reverse psychometry. So psychometry, for those who do not know, is when you hold an item in your hand and then you get impressions, whether they be physical, mental, spiritual, whatever, sometimes a biography behind the item. So kind of what I'm doing is a reverse. I know the biography behind the item, but I don't physically have the item in my hand. So I'm having to know about the item to find it.
Wow. And so what does that feel like? Are you gathering all the information with all your different senses, or do you lead with certain senses and have to drop away other ones?
Yeah. So the procedure is I do a breathing exercise, which is a 3-2-1 countdown. A lot of people have heard of the Silva method, S-I-L-V-A. He was very well known for developing psychic abilities through meditation and relaxation techniques. And so I do sort of a condensed 3-2-1 countdown to center myself and quiet myself. And then I just say spirits, ancestors, guides, and energies, sage, which is my little term I use to sort of purify and sort of call in whatever energies want to help. And then it can be a combination. First of all, I kind of become the item. So I'll usually say things like, I smell this, or I see it laying sideways, or, I feel material around me. So I'm sort of become the item for just a moment usually. Or if it's like an animal, let's say, I can sort of see through the animal's eyes, I guess. And then sometimes, so for example, if it's a gift, let's say from a mother, like my mother gave me this ring and I lost it. Sometimes the mother, if I know the first name of the mother, I can use mediumship also to connect to the mother to kind of help me too. And so it's sort of a combination of skills, I would say. And it comes in differently every time. Sometimes I've used spirit drawings to do it. And sometimes I've done it, I can taste or smell or hear something, or I even get in memory of the person who lost it that gives them a time reference as to when it happened.
Wow, that's incredible. So it really does pull in everything. Has there
Yeah.
ever been an item that's just like you've gotten information and it's completely stumped you? And then you've gotten another piece of information and the whole story came in and you just had to give a giggle?
Oh yeah, almost every time, honestly, because a lot of times they'll go look where they think I'm talking about, and then they come back and say I didn't find it, and I said you're going to find it, and then something else triggers them, and they realize that they were right next to it, maybe, but they didn't quite understand because they're kind of like it's like a riddle almost. So
Mhm.
here's a good example, and I always use a story when I give an example to people because what happens is their attitude has a lot to do with them being able to find it.
I was just going to ask you about that. If they
Yeah.
have to have an emotional connection to it. So I'll stop interrupting you and let
Oh
you
no, you're
tell
not
the story.
interrupting at all. It's not just the emotional connection, it's the connection of I can find it. If they don't believe they can find it, it ain't going to work because they've already made up their mind. See what I'm saying? So when they've
Hmm.
asked me to find it, they better believe that they're going to find it, or it doesn't matter what I tell them.
Yeah.
And so one example I like to use is this. One of the first ones I did, a lady lost a ring, and I kept seeing a garden. I kept seeing soil. I kept seeing underneath plants in a garden. And I kept saying that to her. She says, well, I have a garden. I never go in my garden. There would be no reason for my ring to be in the garden. She almost like argued with me.
Yeah.
And one thing I've learned about doing what I do is I got to stick with what I see. I can't just let the person lead me. So I said, I'm telling you that's what I see. That's it. About 3 weeks later, I get a private message from her and she says, you're not going to believe how I found my ring. And I said, well, what happened? She says, well, I finally gave up. I thought, shoot, this lady said, check in the garden. I can't find, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to go out to the garden and look. So she goes to put on her galoshes or her rain boots to go out there. And as she puts her foot in the boot, her ring is in the boot.
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah, and so it turned out that there was like a table, like a hall table, and she'd thrown the ring down there for some reason, and it slid off into her boot. And she hadn't worn the boots in ages because, like she said, she never goes out in her garden. So it was like her guides almost knew, like if she could just get to that point of believing that maybe it's in the garden, she would find it.
Wow. So with remote viewing, if I'm remembering right, because it's been a while since I did a deep dive on it, but
Mhm.
it was, you can't actually, there's this perception that you can't actually profit from it. And I notice there's so much that you do for other people and you're not doing it for greedy reasons, selfish reasons. You're always giving back.
Yeah, I actually don't charge for it at all.
That's what I
Um,
thought.
it probably will bite me in the rear at some point because I'm getting a
Oh,
little overwhelmed, to be honest with you, with requests.
yeah.
But I don't know how I could charge for that. It
Yeah.
seems unfair because if they don't find it and I've charged them, right? I mean, that kind of
Yeah.
for me the integrity way, I guess, because then it's like, well, I said, well, I told you, too bad, it's your fault. That's not really fair. So I just figure when I feel it and I want to do it, I do it because it makes me happy. And that's why I always ask people to follow up and tell me what their experience was when they do find it because it's exciting and makes me happy. That's my payment.
That is incredible. And I notice that too, because I always like it when people post videos or a little snippet or a
Mhm.
review and just say, oh my gosh, I can't, it's incredible. Well,
Yeah.
you have to have abundance because we need people like you in the world to be around. So, what are you doing to gather your own abundance? Do you do tarot readings still?
I do. I still, as a matter of fact, weirdly, it's been kind of quiet on the readings lately, but I've also been really busy, in my life, living on my boat and all. But yeah, I still do. This week I got a ton of them. I got like 8 all in a row. So, wow. So I still do tarot readings and oracle. I still do, of course, mediumship, which is
Hmm.
speaking to deceased loved ones and energies that are not human, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And I also do automatic or spirit drawing or scribing, and also spirit writing as well, which is similar. And like we said, the Foley. And then I also have a game we play sometimes called musical mediumship, where I give people songs that come to me for them. They usually have messages in the lyrics, or it's a song that's meaningful to them. That's also been kind of a fun, more lighthearted version of mediumship.
Holy smokes, that is so connected to me because I always, my deceased loved ones, they always send me songs all the
Yep.
time. And they send it to me, they pop it on my playlist. And I'm like, sometimes I've never even heard of the song. It'll be an
Yep.
artist I know, but it'll be a song that's completely out of the blue. And you listen to the lyrics and they sounded so upbeat or maybe so, I don't know, innocuous and, fluffy. And then you
Right.
listen to them through the eyes of that person. You're like, oh my gosh, I
Right.
needed to hear that.
Yeah. Well, music's a frequency. It makes sense, right? Because that's what we're doing
I
is we're
don't.
going into frequencies.
I find that the people that passed away, that's their first and easiest way of connecting. And
Yeah.
they'll send songs to me for other people. And I
Mhm.
just know to send it along. Otherwise, it's like an itchy bump. It keeps bothering me and festering until I send it along. Do you have anything like that where you've
Yeah, so
had
it'll go on
messages?
loop for me. Yeah. I often, when I have readings that morning, I'll wake up with a song in my mind.
Me too.
I already know that that's part of the reading. So yeah, definitely. And that's kind of how, same thing. It was on a live one time and I love to sing and be silly and all that. And
Me
I don't know
too.
how up. I said, I'm hearing a song for you. And the next thing I know, people were like, pick a song for me. And started doing it. It really actually is pretty interesting because people are saying, yeah, that song was my dad's favorite song, or that song was the song when I was going through my divorce and I was wondering, this or whatever. So it seems like no matter what you do, it works. If you really
Yeah.
believe, it'll work. So it does.
It's funny because before, like if I think about 2 years ago, before I would get on the podcast and have a guest in, I would always do like a meditation, like
Right.
15, 20 minutes. But
Right.
now I just find that I sing. I just sing a song and I'm just singing silly songs and it gets me into the vibration I need. It
Right.
aligns everything very quickly. Even humming does. So,
Yes.
oh my God, had no idea. Okay.
I had
So
a song today before we got on, by the way. I'm sorry to
I,
interrupt you,
that's
but
exactly what I was going to
very,
ask you.
very weird. It was Elvis and it was uh Burn in Love. I got the Elvis Burn in Love song.
The hunka hunka burn in love. I feel like this
My
is so
husband,
my dad.
why are you
This,
singing that? Huh?
I feel like it's so my dad
Oh, you're
because,
dead. Okay.
yeah,
I'm like, I don't
because
sing Elvis.
ah, that's so funny because he was an Elvis guy. I mean, both of my dads, loved Elvis, but
Okay.
my first dad that passed away like 3 years ago, Elvis is his guy
There
for
you
sure.
go. That's for you.
That's so cute and so inappropriate. I love it so much. I keep telling my husband, his mom, she used to sing You Are My Sunshine to him.
That's my mom's favorite song too.
Get out of town.
My
And
mom.
that's why, okay, so I just got a song for you because my husband he was the littlest and he used to always cover his ears like, I don't like your singing. And now he thinks
Oh,
about that song with such
oh,
tenderness because it's his
oh,
mom. I know,
oh,
isn't that sweet?
I love it. I love
I
it.
do too. Okay, so tell us about this is the latest thing I've been seeing. I've been gobsmacked by your two-handed drawings. Please tell us about the evolution of that gift and what it's doing and what kind of faces have been showing up for you on the paper with the two pens. Just explain the whole thing.
Okay, so another one of those things. I've done spirit drawing for many years. It started about 5 or 6 years ago, again, when I started really getting into my development. And I would wake up at 3 in the morning and write in my journal, and I would just write whatever came out. And that was where I started kind of letting automatic writing start. And I did a lot of sketches, and I sketched a lot of stuff that actually has been happening in the last couple of years, like 5 or 6 years ago, not really knowing what I was drawing. I was just letting it just run.
Yes.
Some stuff I drew, I didn't understand. I even wrote some numbers and some words down and stuff. And then I looked them up and they were physics things and things having to do with the cosmos that I'm not a physicist. So
Mm-mm.
that kind of blew my mind a little bit, but I always didn't I've always been an artist, but I didn't take my spirit drawing seriously because they didn't really look like my art. And they weren't, if you've seen them, they're very frenetic and very scribbly looking a lot of the time. So I didn't I didn't think anybody would care about that. But then I think I was on a live one time and I was trying to explain something I saw. And so I started doing that. And then it sort of became popular here and there. And I thought, all right. And then one day I was doing a live and I said, I'm going to do spirit drawings today. And I'm doing them. And I'd remembered somewhere I'd seen a gal, and I think she's called Sunshine Seer Oracle, I want to say is her name. And she's on Instagram. She was doing two-handed drawings. And I thought, hey, that's pretty cool. I wonder if I could do that because I'm pretty ambidextrous for the most part. And so I'm on the live and I mentioned it and somebody said, you should try it. And I said, okay. So on the live, this was just a few months ago, I
Yeah.
picked up another pen and went for it. And lo and behold, this thing appears, this picture of a man with a hat and this whole thing. And it was pretty good. I mean, it was recognizable. And
It
so at
was
that point,
it was crazy. I saw that and it was
yeah.
incredible.
Yeah. And so I thought, huh. And so then I started just doing it every day and practicing it, like trying it more and more.
Mhm.
And now when I try to do one-handed spirit drawing, it feels weird to me. I can't do it. I have to have both hands now, which is really strange. I've even done it with two colors of pen, just so you can
Yeah.
see the two different
I,
hands of doing things.
I was literally just going to ask you about that. And I wondered if that was on purpose so you could see the two different hands working
Yeah, because I
together.
wanted to see that I wasn't doing exactly the same thing. And the weird thing about that was one day I did a red pen and a blue pen at the same time. I think it was a dog I did. And one of my viewers sent me a message and said, I put on some 3D glasses and it became very 3D. And I said, are there hidden things in there? And I started thinking about that. I wonder if there's hidden messages in there. Like, what? So I'm hoping I can find a pair. If anybody's listening wants to send me a pair of 3D glasses.
Oh my gosh.
If I'm actually, maybe there's something else there I'm not seeing with my regular eyes.
Now I need to look in my garage because you know how it's one of those things from childhood that you would go.
Mm-hmm.
I remember going to the creature of the Black Lagoon or something,
Right.
and you had them, and they were just these paper things with one blue, one red.
Right.
Oh my God, now I'm dying. I'm sure you can get it on Amazon, but it'd be more
Right.
fun to just kind of say, hey, universe, I need these to be in my
Right.
path, and then you'll find them.
Yeah. So that was crazy. But yeah, it blows my mind because when I post the videos, if anybody ever watches them, I speed them up because,
Yeah.
you can listen to me and watch me draw for 20 minutes, and sometimes it's very fast. But I speed them
Really?
up and it just looks like it's just like literally like growing on the page as I draw. It
Yes.
starts out like a bunch of scribbles that look like nothing. And then all of a sudden there's a face popping out and it's very 3D. And I hate drawing people. So it blows my mind that I'm drawing people. Now, sometimes I think they're spirit guides or people that have passed. And I can usually tell because it's very scribbly and very frenetic looking. When
Yeah.
it's somebody who's still alive or is just symbolic, it tends to be a much more crisper, clearer picture with less scribbling.
Oh my gosh, it
Yeah.
just blows my mind. What's crazy is I just had a bird that came up to the window and literally said hello to us.
Oh,
I
hi.
know. He was sitting on the he was a woodpecker. He was sitting on the ledge and
Oh,
then he left. But I just told it, here he comes back again. So
oh.
we
Hey,
have to say
Brent.
hello.
Hi.
Um oh, the drawings. And so with the two different hands and okay, so that reminded me. So you will get a 3D pair of glasses. You will look back and maybe see some of those other
Yeah.
things possibly and then share those with people. That would be incredible.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It just brought me to I always want people to write their dreams down. And people think I don't dream or I don't dream about much.
Mhm.
That's the same thing with a dream journal. How
Mhm.
often you go back and realize there were layers in there. And I maybe
Mhm.
saw one layer when I woke up the next day. And
Right.
you look back over the course of years and you see it all laid out so perfectly in the layers that you kind of missed at the time.
Right.
It just
Yeah.
reminds me of what you were saying about the drawing. So do you have a dream journal too?
I journal every day. Mary, I can see it from where I'm sitting right now. I journal
Yeah.
I've been doing that for years and years, more for my mental health in the beginning.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
now I find by using that, it's sort of a brain dump, not only just premonitions and dreams and things like that, but just also recording all this historical stuff that's happening right now. I mean, the world is cuckoo bird. And it's like, I got to write this stuff down. And sometimes I do write predictions down. I don't necessarily share them because one of the things that, and I know this is a little off topic, but one of the things I
Mm-mm.
really don't like is when people capitalize on other people's bad experiences. You know what I mean?
I do.
I don't want to showboat my
Hmm.
political feelings or my feelings about, P. Diddy or, whatever scandals going on. Cause a lot of psychics do it. I'm not putting them down just for me.
Right.
I'd rather just write it down just to have it. Like, I don't feel comfortable with that.
Yeah.
So I don't
That
do that. So
makes
yeah, the
sense.
journaling helps me put those things down. Yeah.
And then you put them away and you don't have to feel like there's something that you have to pursue or go forward. The other thing I wonder is for me, I feel like I don't want to put it out there and start manifesting it and giving it more body and substance.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, when
Yes.
it's really not my role. There's so many times in life I felt like this arsenal energy comes up, this burn it down, this kind of anger, and
Yeah.
it never serves me. I'm supposed to be here in love. That's my whole thing. And anything else kind of sidetracks me.
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I empathize with that. And so having a journal be a safe space for that information. And it's like, I just have to put it somewhere. And it's
Yeah.
not to, and also it doesn't feed the ego that way too. That's my other big trigger is we had this thing like 6 months ago or whatever, where this company was reaching out to me and others that were in my small podcast community, and they wanted us to make our podcast into television shows. And
Mhm.
the only thing it spoke to was my ego. And that was when my alarm bell went off because it
Yeah.
never serves me. And
Yeah.
then, all I needed was an excuse to just kind of move away from it. It was like, no, this isn't meant for me. This isn't what this is supposed to be about. But
Right.
same with you're journaling it, and that's just for you. And it's not meant to feed an ego. So,
Yeah, yeah. And I think it also, again, is just to support my development because when I go back and see, okay, I did know this was going to happen, or I did get a message I didn't understand. How did I miss that? Like it's for me to learn too. And
yeah.
I sometimes can't even read my own handwriting, to be honest with you, because it's so frenetic sometimes when I've used that word a lot today, but that's energy, it's energy coming out. But
Yeah.
it helps your memory. If you write stuff down, it clears your mind. You don't have to think about everything that's going through your head. And being the kind of person I am with ADHD and a little on the spectrum,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
going on in this brain on top of all the spiritual and psychic and, all these things that come into me. So it's a lot. I have to sort it out somehow. And that really helps me.
Just going way back to the beginning of you, and I will have the links to our other shows
Sure.
on the podcast, on the show notes, so people can go there and take a deep dive into you, Miss Molly. But how did you find teachers? Like when you knew you had some inkling, I've got some things coming forward and other people don't, where did you find your teachers? How did you make that happen? How did you know they were the right teacher for you?
Well, I'm going to admit the truth. I haven't had a lot of teachers. Life has been my teacher. I initially, when I started actually really delving into this, like I've had this my whole life. I think I mentioned in the last interview I had a near death experience when I was a kid, and that's when it kind of started. But when I really delved into it, it was about 6 years ago, is when I really had to take it seriously. There's too many things going on. And at the time, my boyfriend at that time also saw a lot of paranormal activity around me. Like he experienced it with me. So I knew at that point it wasn't just me thinking stuff was happening. He was experiencing it as well. And so he finally said, you need to find somebody. And so I had a particular thing happen that was sort of life changing, I'll say, with my abilities. And I felt very confused and I actually went into a depression because I didn't know how to use that information in a way that was helpful and not hurting somebody. And
Yeah.
so I just felt very confused. So I went to a workshop that I'd heard about at this little place. This is when I lived in California. And this gentleman did this channeling workshop. I didn't even know the difference between channeling and meditation. And, I didn't understand the terminology. So I thought it was just going to be like maybe a little bit of mediumship development.
Mm-hmm.
But I got there and he actually had us channeling. And I didn't even really understand that. So long story short, he had me go into the booth. They make sort of like this private closet you sit in and and I channeled and it was crazy. I mean, I was speaking a language I didn't know. I was talking to everybody in the room. It went crazy. And I'm like, oh boy, what is this? I ectoplasm, I mean, the whole thing, like it was full blown, like blew my mind. And so I finally walked out of there and then I just started meeting people that had ability out of the blue, like almost like it was being put in front of me. And they'd say,
Yep.
hey, read this book, or hey, talk to this person, or you should read up on or watch these person's videos or whatever. And so I've kind of self-taught. I've taken a few small courses here and there, and some of my colleagues on TikTok or Instagram, I've taken a few of their courses because I always like to see how they're doing and what they're doing. And everything I do, I pick up something, even if it's a course I take or a person I've worked with, and I'm like, ugh, I can't stand that person. I don't like the way they teach. Usually there is one little something I get. But the best thing I got was how I became Miss Molly Knows. And I think that helped me because one of the biggest challenges we all have, besides ego, is self-doubt. If you can't believe yourself, then nobody's going to believe you. And if you don't believe what you're getting, then, how do you do your job as an intuitive? And so I came up with the slogan, know that you know.
I
And I
love that
that.
slogan.
to myself all the time. I'll go, I know that I know, I know that I know, I know that I know. And in doing so, it's gotten to the point where now I don't question myself. I may sound like I'm questioning, but if I say to you, this person's coming through and I'm seeing a yellow tennis ball, and it sounds ridiculous to me saying that to you, I'm not going to doubt myself. I'm just,
Yeah.
that's what I saw. And if you go, I don't know what that is, fine. You will. And I have yet to find somebody who says it never happened. I didn't know what you're talking about. Eventually they figure it out. I think it's really knowing that is the biggest.
Mhm. Well, and also I love that insight that you've had from just doing this now for 6 years is
Yeah.
that people will say, oh, that doesn't really connect. And
Yeah.
10 times out of 10, they come back, or even if you don't hear from them, they've made the connection. And that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Again, it's not ego led. You don't need to hear that. You already know this information's solid. You stop that energy going from questioning yourself. Has
Right.
there ever, so I have two daughters, both of them are hugely psychic. They're both in their 20s and amazing people. But one of them has been just dipping that toe back into these gifts that they shut down as a kid when it scared the crap out of them.
Right.
So, is there any advice to like people that they pack those boxes away out of fear, maybe when something happened as a kid and they want to open it up again?
Yeah. The best remedy for fear is knowledge. I mean,
Oh, good.
understanding
Yeah.
how it all works.
Yeah.
And the truth is, there aren't, in my opinion, now, and people can argue, maybe I don't like labels, perhaps, but I
Hmm.
don't believe there's demons waiting to get you, or a devil waiting to get you, or a ghost waiting to get you. It's all energies. Everything is energy. And you're going to draw in energy that's similar to you. So if you're afraid, you're going to draw in scary stuff.
Hmm.
That's how you're going to interpret.
Yeah.
So stuff that used to scare me doesn't scare me anymore. So I've been asked by a few people to tell ghost stories, scary, spooky stories. Well, they're not really scary to me anymore because now I get what was happening. But at the time when I had no knowledge of why those things were happening, it spooked me terribly.
Yeah.
Once in a while, I still get spooked. Something kooky happens and I get like, what the heck was that? But then when I'm able to figure out, okay, this is where this is coming from, or I feel like this was this, I have never been harmed. People are like, how do you protect yourself? I don't. I don't have to because I'm not inviting that stuff. I'm not going to do this kind of work if I'm sick, I'm in a bad mental space, I'm in a bad spiritual place. If I'm had an argument with I'm not going to do this work when I'm in a bad place. And it's intention, intention, intention. That's what I tell people. If your intentions are good, you're going to get good information. Intentions are negative. If people want to know how did he die and who murdered this person, that kind of stuff, that's not the kind of stuff I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Be a purpose.
Yeah. Right. And it makes a lot of sense to me because it goes back to the when we were talking about the songs. It's a vibration. And if
Mhm.
you're seeking to help and out of love, then the other energies that do exist, they will not want to stick with you because you are not the song they want to have played. And so you're not the same vibration as them anyway.
Mhm.
So it makes perfect sense to me. I know this will be coming out around Halloween, so we'll be a few weeks after it. But I have a daughter in Tampa, and
Mhm.
so we've got Hurricane Milton coming in, and
Gotcha.
yeah, so been moving them for the second time, kind of north and out of the harm's way. But
Mhm.
I wanted to do something else with my energy, and I realized I didn't want to come to the grid work, energy work I was doing with Grooving Goddess. If people know her, she's amazing, Andrea Land. And she's in Colorado here also, because I'm in Colorado now for a lot of the time. It was amazing because she automatically, we at the beginning, we talked about what we're going to do. She was overwhelmed emotionally. She said, this is one of those storms that Mother Earth is telling her it has to happen for some reason. And she said, but we can still do things to take care of the plants, animals, and people,
Right.
and we can still restore balance. And so it was so empowering. And then it just immediately calmed us all down. And we were
Mm.
able to take that energy into creating and building and fortifying protections, and then also sending a legion of dragons and angels, whatever people vibe with. But we were
Right.
really vibing the dragons last night
Cool.
to go counterclockwise to just
Nice.
slow that motherfucker down.
Slowing
Yeah.
down a little. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and it was like and so again, it was a vibration. And she said, it's going to be exhausting
Mhm.
work, but what you do is you stand and you just eat the energy of the hurricane, just consume it. And so you're filling up the battery packs in your solar plexus, and I could just feel it. And so then in the night, when I kept thinking of it, and I kept sending that energy and fortifying what we built, and thanked the spiritual beings that were helping
Mhm.
with this and still are, it just, and then the last footnote, which reminds me of what you said, is she said, in this work, you are protected because you're working not for yourself, but for others.
Yeah.
And the universe and Mother Earth, they want to restore balance and they want this. And that's a different vibration than,
Right.
anger or fear or darkness. So
Absolutely. And I live on a boat in Miami,
I
and
do. Yeah.
I said to my husband a week ago, I said, I don't feel good about these storms coming. And he says, oh, they haven't even developed yet. Nothing's happened yet.
Same,
He
same.
kept assuaging me. And I finally said, and he said it too, that Saturday morning, I looked at him, I said, we need to get out of here. We got in our car and we left. We drove 18 hours solid to get to Kentucky to get the heck out of there. And I have to tell you,
Yeah.
I'm glad we left. Now our boat might not survive, but you know
Yeah.
what? People are more important than the boat. So
That's
we
that.
can't fight Mother Nature. And that's what I've been saying to people is like, instead of trying to fight it and protect your boat and all that stuff, accept it. This is
Yeah.
nature. We aren't in charge in those situations. All we can do is, like you said, accept, channel that energy into whatever we can do to help each other. That's really what it comes down to.
Exactly. And also respect the fact that the earth is trying to come into some sort of balance. And so
Mhm.
how can we use that in our woo type work? Well, we know that there's parts of the planet that are they're experiencing a drought right now. So we sent earth dragons, and I pictured them as like giant sponges or pumice, and they would come and they suck up the extra water from that
Happy to hear,
storm. And then we don't have to tell them where to go. They
right?
just deliver that loving, nourishing water that there's an excess of right now with Milton, and bring it elsewhere along the across the globe. And that helps restore balance too. And so I don't know. It's just been kind of an epiphany for me, because I thought that this kind of work would exhaust me and I would end up and I would be wiped out. I actually found out that texting with my daughter, making sure she kept pushing north with her partner and their cat, that they were
Mhm.
safe. I just was full of energy and I was eating that hurricane, but it wasn't for me. It was like through me. I don't know. I'm
Yeah, no, you're channeling, basically you're healing. You're channeling healing. You're preemptively channeling healing. Like you're saying, like, we're gonna get through this. It might be tough, but we're gonna get through this, and I'm gonna give you the energy to get through this, and we're gonna all make this work. And I do think this is a very strong message from Earth.
Mhm.
We're messing this stuff up. And I'm not a big, like global warming,
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't like that. But we all know that this is not normal weather for us. This is definitely
Yeah.
something that's a result of our oceans getting warmer. And so,
Yeah.
anything we can do energetically to be more positive, like, hey, maybe there's just resetting a little bit, and it's unfortunate and awful that people might lose their houses and homes and things like that. But at the same time, we really can't control everything.
No. And I even think that I hope, my daughter who's left Tampa, but she mentioned to me yesterday on the phone, we talked a couple times yesterday, that there is a homeless man and everybody knows him on her campus, University of Tampa. And
Yeah.
he's this wonderful man and he's homeless and he lives out of a boat close to campus. And
Mhm.
the entire community is worried about him because he's
Yeah.
obstinate and he wouldn't want to go into a shelter.
Mhm.
So we just sent out energy that he would be okay,
Yeah.
and that people are okay, and that we hope that the work that we're doing helps to push back on the collateral damage and
Mhm.
cause more of us to come into balance, and that we can come forward with the things that out of the tragedy of Helena that we've seen, which is people helping people and saying,
Yeah.
like, just like you said, it's the people that matter, the animals, the people, the plants, the balance that matters. And we are up to the challenge. We can do it. So
Mhm.
we'll be there whatever Milton brings, I know that
Correct.
everybody listening is going to do what they can to help those communities to heal up too.
Mm.
Yeah.
But I think another thing is this is also teaching a sense of self-responsibility, because we have to think about if you're able, if
Yeah.
people are able to leave, they ought to, only because we don't want to give emergency workers more stuff to
Yeah.
do. If you're able to go, go.
That,
So the people that can't leave, that either don't have the money for gas or can't leave
yeah.
their homes or have no way of getting out, can get those services, and don't put yourself
Yes.
in a position to have to get
Right.
services. That's how I look at it, which is
I
why we left. We're just gonna go.
it's exactly what Bryn was saying as well. She was like, I want to be out of it so that I other people that need those resources are able to be helped. And also that people, she feels grateful. She's like, I'm grateful. I have gas in my tank that I can leave and be safe. And so it just makes her all the more not only having gratitude, which she always does, but also giving love and care for the people that don't have those choices. And it's like,
Yes.
let's get scooped up to shelter. So just,
Yeah, yeah. And that's what we're here to do, is help others. That's what we're supposed to be doing. And maybe that's the message too, is like reminding
yeah,
us, because I mean, 9 million, is it 9 million people in Florida or something? 9
I
million
think so.
people
Yeah.
can't leave Florida all at once.
No, no,
There are going to be a lot of tragedies, and we just need to be ready to say, here, we're here to help. If you need to
we're
cancel
here.
on, if you need a few $100 here so you can get groceries, whatever it takes, and the government is going to help too, but we have to also be there.
Exactly. That's
Mhm.
exactly right. Oh, I love that. That's such a positive way to talk about it. And that's where I'm sending my energy is just right now, love and protection and just
Yeah.
unconditional love, 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 and more love.
Yeah.
It's cheesy, but I don't even care.
It's not easy. I mean, people have I think I posted this the other day. Like, people have no problem hating people they don't know. Why can't we love people we don't know? I mean,
Exactly. I didn't see that, but that's exactly it. So do you find since you went from working, you were in the on water and now
mhm.
you're more land-based, the energies, do you have to kind of shift like it's a different balance, right?
Yeah, there's different vibes. So in
Yes.
the house I'm in right now, I'm in the hills of Kentucky. We inherited this house. I've had a lot of activity in this house, like paranormal activity. I've caught it on video at times during lives. We've had fairy interactions here at this house.
I love that.
My husband's a believer now. I didn't believe it until it happened a few times. And we've had a lot of things happen in this particular house. It's very different. Now on the boat, I find, because I'm on water and
Mhm.
I'm also isolated there in a sense. It's different in the sense that I feel like I'm a little more conductive, especially when I'm doing drawing and all those things in that capacity. But here it feels more the paranormal type of stuff happens in this house. So
Oh.
yeah, I guess it depends where you are. I mean, we are in near the Appalachians.
Mhm.
I guess we're part of it, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, obviously I'm not from there. I don't sound like I'm from there, so it's kind of learning these things. But yeah, so it is different, absolutely.
Is it easier to ground there versus when you're on the water in the boat?
No, I think it's about the same. It's just different. It's just
Yeah.
different. It's just kind of like, think about, like, you spend the night in your bed in your house, and then you go spend the night in your bed in your mother's house.
Yeah.
It's a little different. It's still familiar, but it's not exactly the same. It's
Mhm. Yeah, I understand that. It's funny because I was so water based in Seattle and
yeah,
I still spend time in Seattle, but now it's more Denver. And so I have the mountains right out my window and it's all very much earth energy. And I didn't know how much I needed that to realize I have a lot of water energy, fire
yeah.
and water. And I had no idea until I was here. I always thought that was just part of my experience in Seattle. And that's why I gravitated to it. It's like been nice because I can add that water energy to my neighborhood here.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah, and being here where we are in a holler with
Yeah.
trees and bears, and there's nothing. There's no street lights here. Pure stars in the sky. So anything that shows up here is like it's not a person. So
Yeah.
we've seen are not people. So it definitely confirms that for me. But it's very magical here. I really like it here. It's different for me. It's a new atmosphere for me for the last couple of years.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Well, tell everybody what you're up to next and where they can find you and how they can get more of a dose of Miss Molly.
Great. Okay, so we're in spooky season, so I'm posting a lot of Halloween videos because it's just fun. People like them and they're fun. And I haven't been on as much lately, and I apologize for that because I have been going back and forth between the boat and here. So right now, I'm taking private readings as always. My website's missmollyknows.com. I'm usually on lives at least once a week. Generally, it tends to be on Fridays. But you can always just check with me. I can give you a heads up. I try to not make it a job. As I
Yeah.
said, I do most of it free most of the time now. So I don't want to do it if I don't feel like doing it.
Mhm.
But you can always contact me through my website. And I do have a designated, and I'm trying this experiment. We're going to see how well it works. I have a designated email for Finder of Lost Items.
That's new.
Yeah, and it is Finder of Lost Items at yahoo.com. So you
Okay.
can send me a request. You'll get an automated response with a list of things I need to know. Don't tell me more than I ask. Okay. That's the other issue is people tell me too much. And then now you're feeding me clues.
Right.
They mislead me. See what I'm saying? So you say,
Yes.
well, I don't want to know where you think you lost it because that, like you say, well, I was I was out shopping and I was trying clothes on and my earring disappeared. Well, then of course my brain is automatically going to go, it's either stuck in some clothing or it's in a dress. You see what I'm saying? It's in a
Yeah.
living room. I don't want that. I just
Hmm.
want, there's specifics I want. And if you don't tell me all the specifics, or if you tell me too much, I might not do it because I'm getting inundated.
Oh my gosh.
Time to go through and keep asking, oh, please tell me this. Oh, you told me, I want you to just do what I asked, no more.
Right. Oh, it actually makes perfect sense because when you have psychic information come forward, it tends to be in the same internal voice as you
Yes.
have, but
Mhm.
it feels different because it's like, and that's the thing that you typically will disregard. So I love that you're like, don't add to a story. I want the human nature is to make things into a big narrative, right? You
Right.
don't
And I
want
think
that.
they think by telling me more, it's helpful. Even when I do regular readings like tarot readings, they'll tell me their zodiac sign, their date of birth, and their mother's name. And I don't need all that unless it's pertinent to what I'm doing. Because again, I don't want to be led. That doesn't
Mhm.
make me know if I'm tuning in properly. So yes, don't give me
Yeah.
more than ask.
Oh my God, that just reminded me. So we didn't talk about it. So forget this. I'll put your links in the show notes, by the
Sure, go
way,
ahead.
but we'll just call this extra bonus. But
Put it
it was
in.
maybe like 4 months ago. My oldest, dearest friend, Deb,
Oh
she
yeah, I
had
remember
this.
her.
Yes. So she had this experience that was just, believes in everything. She's had
Right.
things happen, but nothing as in her face as this journey she went on to find out her family history when her ancestry.com came, to life in her purse when she was in South Carolina, I believe, at this monument. And it just started this whole journey she's been on to write this book. So she was going back to this tiny town in New York as she was trying to find this person that's in her family that was allegedly the little drummer boy that was at Sherman's March to the Sea.
Wow. Okay.
And it was this like rumor in her family. And then she's at this monument for Sherman's March to the Sea. And here her phone goes off. And it's a reminder about her grandfather's birthday, who's been deceased for 20 years. So why would it go off? Why would
Yeah,
it tell her about that? And
that's
that's where she got this book, the Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil book, was
right,
when they
right.
were cleaning out his place. And she just happened to pick it up and said, oh, I think this is my kind of book. Mom, can I take this? She was like, absolutely. And that's the lineage to this little drummer boy. So she's been on this journey to write the story of the little drummer boy, and it's caused this healing ripple in her entire family. It's brought out this beautiful side of she and her father's relationship where he's let down his guard and he's telling her actually what it was like to grow up and things like that. And
Oh, cool.
but she was about to go to New York and
Mhm.
she reached, I know this scoop. And she was like, I think I'm going to buy this house because I think it's right next to where the little drummer boy's
Mhm.
childhood house was. And I feel compelled that's where I'm going to write my book. And she said, but I really want a reading from someone. And you were the first name that came off my lips. I said, well, I know a lot of people that I love and trust, but this is the person I feel like, you need to
Oh,
have as part of the reading.
cool.
So you probably never get to hear the second part of it, but there were so many pieces of that reading that just were like, they confirmed she didn't give you any scoop, just like you said, don't give me
I don't
any scoop.
remember the reading. I just remember her name. And then she was
Yeah. Yeah. She's even listened to it recently and it's just blown her mind. So it's
cool.
just like when you were saying that there's drawings that you've done for people and
Mhm.
they are saying, now I'm looking at them in a different way and I'm seeing other things in them. There are pieces to it that she's like, you said those way back then without any information, and they're making sense even months later. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
just incredible.
because their time isn't linear. You and I know that. It's not linear. We think it is because we're humans. It's not linear. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't, just like when I do the lost item finding, if someone lost it 20 years ago or lost it 20 minutes ago, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Just
Yeah.
like it doesn't matter how far away somebody is from me. They could be in England asking me a question, or they could be in Australia asking me a question. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, don't you find maybe it's easier in a way to not have them physically in the same space anyway,
Hmm.
right?
Yep. The less I know, the better, because then I know, like you said, I don't have to discern if the things that are coming into my mind are I'm just making it up, or it's actually, it's random. It's like weird random stuff that I don't know why I'd be thinking that in the first place. So I know it's got to be coming from them. So that's why I like reading for perfect strangers. I really do. It's much more exciting for me than people I know, because people I know I already have a conversation in my head about that person. I
Mm-hmm.
already know some things about them. So it's hard for me to be very,
Objective, maybe.
yeah, objective. I can't be as objective.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, and it makes sense why it's funny because it's interesting because a week ago when you were saying every alarm bell was going off that this is different, we need to get out. I out of the blue, Bryn is thriving. Out of the blue, I just started crying and I was like, I gotta check in with my Bryn. I love her so much and I need to let her know if she makes, I don't know why I had to tell her this, but I'm like, if you ever feel like you have to be perfect, let that shit go. I
Yeah.
love you just as you are. Your dad loves you just as you are. And you are going to make mistakes in life. And guess what? We're all in on your life. That's not why we love you. And I felt like I had to tell her that. Well, now we're dealing with her going up the coast, getting north, getting safe with her partner and their cat. And it's been crazy because those are things I had to tell her. And she had to feel kind of like just loved and adored for who she was so that she could just clear out all that stuff and know what to do and when to go. So
Right. Right. And that's
I,
that self-doubt again, like know that you do know what's
you,
good for you.
you totally do. And also that time is not, that's more proof that time is not linear. When you
Oh,
get a
absolutely.
message about what's going to happen in a few weeks or a week and you listen to that, right? So
Yeah, because again, it's literally like going like just fast forwarding,
yeah,
checking a few days ahead, like what's happening. Especially
yeah,
when weather related, I always feel it physically.
yeah. Yeah, I tend to when it's my kids, I tend to feel it in a dream. I get it in a dream what maybe they need, or it is kind of like over. I haven't spoken a word. I've taken care of the pets, and then I'll just kind of hear it as a message of like, I don't know why they need to hear this. So they're used to getting the
Yeah.
weird
Yeah.
messages from their
Yeah.
mom because they get them all the time. I'm like, this has
Right.
to be the weirdest thing. It's funny though because with the grid work I did last night so much of it was like, and I've never been a part of it before. I just kind of spontaneously did it because this is a person I really believe in her work and I care about her and I
Mhm.
wanted to do something. But then I realized for the last 2 weeks, because she even had this image during the meditation of these dragons sitting on top of our house. And I've
Mhm.
just been hearing these like a giant dragon sitting on my house occasionally, like when I've been meditating for the last month. And then I was like, oh, the dragons already knew the work I would be doing later
Mhm.
that I
Right.
didn't even know. I didn't even know I'd be doing.
Well, there's so many layers to, or I don't want to say dimensions, but so many layers to
Mhm.
our existence. And you're pulling in different layers that we can't necessarily see with the naked eye right away or hear with our ears. But there's different layers of energy that are always around us.
Mm-hmm.
People like you and I that are intuitive, we can see more layers than other people.
Yeah. But even those, it's like I was blind to it till yesterday. And then I went,
I
oh,
don't
the
sometimes.
dragons have been chilling like villains on my roof for the last month, going, come on, you're going to do this
Strong
thing.
energy. Yeah. I love it.
I love the work that you do. I love you and I believe in what you're doing. I'm just so, I just am so excited and so proud of you. And
Oh, thanks.
I constantly just send you love and energy, even though you don't even need it because you're just like plugged in. But you're one of those people in life that I'm going to be saying, I knew you when, because you're just the shit. You're just awesome.
Oh, shucks. Honestly, it's funny because it's taken a big hurdle to get over my own ego because I've always been a performer. I've always been a show off. I've always like me, look at me, look at me, look at me. And I've had to really learn to mellow out a little bit and understand it's not about me at all.
Mm.
That's hard for me. And as I talk about me, see, it's always about me. And I'm thinking about me.
But you are amazing. But you kind of, sometimes you have to have that voice because sometimes it was a thing that was missing in our lives prior to. So you kind of have to build yourself up. I mean, my kids know I have these silly little songs that I used to sing to myself as a kid. And then it was funny because it was maybe 10 years ago. 8 years ago, we were in a rock shop in the middle of Mount Vernon, Washington. And somebody said, wow, you have a rainbow aura that is just glittery. And I hope you had the most beautiful childhood and the most wonderful adults around you. And I just went, no.
Wow.
I sing these songs to myself to just keep myself moving forward and building myself up because it never came from another source.
Yeah. True.
So that's me saying it's okay that I love that you're a performer. I love that you have a sparkle to you. Don't hide your sparkle.
I won't. I just try to have fun. I always try to think about how the other person feels, how the person's going to feel. And that's really, and that should be true in everything we do.
It should be.
Feel if it were you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I love you and I'll have the links to everything in the show notes. So don't worry, fam. I'll have the direct link to your Finder of Lost Things email down there as well. Be safe there in Kentucky. Give lovin's to your dogs for all of my listeners and me.
Same. And I know your daughter will be fine and all the Floridians listening and anybody else in the wake of this crazy hurricane, just hang in there and, if you can get out, go.
Yeah, get out, go. And we will all help you rebuild the things that are physical things that you lost. We're all in with you.
Just things, you guys. They're just things.
Just stay safe. Yeah. All right. Lots of love.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Hey, you. Yes, you. Are you looking for a new podcast that appeals to your scientific curiosity, but is also a little bit spooky?
Show me how I died in a past life.
Well, look no further, because this cat is where it's at.
He had concerns about the ethics surrounding AI, feeling they had achieved consciousness.
Curious Cat Podcast examines the shadowy space where science and the supernatural collide. Listen every week with your host, Jennifer Holtz, as she and her guests explore what it means to be a soul in a meat suit.
We were healing karma together. They were all kind of predestined to resolve something.
Listen on all your favorite streaming apps and continue the conversation on Twitter at CuriousCatPodCA, or find Jennifer and all her links at Jennifer L. Holtz, spelled HOTES.com.